Hello. So I had a ton of fun interviewing adolescents on their input on reading and what genres they liked and whatnot. And so these are my results from the interview. I interviewed a girl named Bailey, a girl named Cameron, a boy named Chris, and a boy named Daniel. And throughout the thing, Bailey's always going to be green, Cameron's going to be blue, Chris is going to be orange, and Daniel's going to be red. So I did 2 boys and 2 girls. 3 of them were 14-year-olds, and they were in 8th grade, and one of them was a junior. So the first question that they asked was, do you consider yourself a good reader? That's what I asked them. And Bailey said, yes, because I do not have trouble figuring out words. Cameron said, yes, but not amazing. So she thinks she's a good reader, but not an amazing reader. And Chris said, yeah, I read a lot, and I'm in advanced English class. So he really thinks he's a good reader. And Daniel said, yes, because I read all the time. I consider myself above average from my classmates at reading. So you get a little bit of a variety. But they all think that they're good readers, which I kind of was surprised about because when I was in high school, I did not think myself was a good reader. So I'm glad that I found 4 confident people in their reading abilities. So something I was super surprised about is how many books they had, how many books you own. So they said 30, 50, 25, and 30. I was very surprised because when I was younger, I didn't own any books. It probably was because I came from a low-income family. But, how many books are in your house? 40, 50, 190. I was sort of surprised, but not totally surprised because I'm thinking of the adults in their house too. So I was more surprised about how many books they own. How many novels have you read in the last 12 months? So Bailey said 3, Cameron said 4, and Chris said 25, and Daniel said 18. And I do remember Chris and Daniel thinking that they read a lot, and they read a lot in their free time at home and whatnot. Cameron isn't much of a reader. I think the 4 books were probably books that she had to read in school. And Bailey was the junior. So, how did you learn to read? Most of the responses were, I learned to read in school. But, Daniel learned to read, from his mom before he went to school, which I thought was pretty cool. What good experiences have you had being read to as a child, first grade book, etc.? So the Bailey girl said reading to little kids. She liked doing that. They have the program at Canton School where they read to little kids. And they kind of have a book buddy. She enjoys Battle of the Books, and that's where you read as much books as you can and compete with your classmates, and you get prizes. I was read to as a child and loved it. I loved reading The Great Gatsby in English class, which I was surprised about that because that was not something I enjoyed in English class. I was read to as a child, having older kids read to me when I was in kindergarten book buddies. I wasn't read to as a child as much as these 4 students were, so now I kind of put that together where they were read to as a child. They have a lot of books in their house, and they became pretty good readers, and they are confident in their reading ability, and I wasn't, and I think that's probably why. In 1st grade, our teacher read a book to us about a mouse, a chapter a day, and everyone was always excited about it. Every night when I visited my grandma, she would read me a book. So this person had another experience. They really liked reading a chapter a day in school, and I see that a lot in elementary classrooms today, so I liked that. And Daniel said, I loved reading and being read to, and I loved the book A Mother for Choco, but I've never heard of that book, so I kind of want to look into that. So why do people read? When I asked them this, they were like, what? So the first person said to gain more knowledge on something. The next person said to entertain themselves, so I'm guessing they read more to entertain themselves instead of to learn something. To pass time for entertainment because they're forced to in school because they're bored. So this person they read for their own entertainment, but they were also complaining that they have to read in school when they're forced to. And another person said people read for fun, and one of my English teachers says I have to. So that's another different response. And what does someone have to do in order to be a good reader? So someone said, persevere through troubling words and read as much as you can. I love that response because when I don't know what a word is or I don't know how to pronounce it, I go and Google it right away because I want to be the best reader I can. So I liked how she said persevere. And one person said take their time. It's definitely very important to take your time when reading. This person said they have to be patient and understand what they are reading. They have to know, sorry, a lot of these are spelled wrong. I must have been typing these fast when I was asking them questions. They have to know their strengths and how to approach them. And then someone said, read a lot every day, which my favorite response to this is I think to be a good reader, you have to read, and you have to enjoy reading, and you have to find that genre that sticks to you and that you can't put down. So this one was, do you like to have your teacher read to you? Why or why not? This person said no, because I would rather read in my head. Her voice annoys me. I kind of asked her if it was because if the teacher's voice wasn't annoying, if they would like to be read, to them, but this person is a reader that just particularly likes to read to themselves and in their head. And I think that mostly comes from readers who are very confident with their reading ability and read a lot on their own time. This person said yes, because then I understand the story better. So this is more of a listener, enjoys the story and comprehends the story better when they're read to. So, the next one, sometimes, because it is easier to take notes when the teacher's reading, I like that response too, because this person is able to think about it and then they are able to write notes while they're listening to the story. So they're able to multitask when they're listening. No, because it is boring. I'd rather read in my head. And that's Daniel, and I expected that from him because he has a lot of books at home. He seems to be a reader and read on his own time. So those two, him and Bailey at the top, I understand why they like to read to themselves more. How often do you read? Every day, because I'm in school. I do not read for fun often. Every night, I a chapter every night. I read like 4 days a week, every night. Those responses shocked me because even though I am in college getting my master's, I don't read every night. And they're in high school reading every night. So honestly, props to them, and I'm really proud of them for being able to take the time out of their day and doing that. And not only taking the time out of their day and doing it, but choosing to do it and enjoying it. So that makes me excited that there's other people out there that do that. I see that myself's frozen. Okay, it's unfroze. What was the last book you read? Was it assigned or chosen? What kind of books do you like to read? So the first person said, the last book I read was The Great Gatsby. It was assigned. I like to read mystery books. So they read The Great Gatsby, and that was the last book they read. It was assigned, and the kind of books they like is mystery. The next person said that their book was chosen to read, not assigned, and they read everything, which I was super happy about, and I got to talk about the book with them because I just recently read that book for this class, and they like to read fiction and fantasy. The last book I read was Inside Out and Back Again. It was assigned. I do not like it. I like to read comics, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Harry Potter, and fantasy. And, to be honest, kids these days, I think, know so much more about literacy in the classroom than I knew. Today a girl was yesterday when I was subbing, a girl was like, oh yeah, I love graphic novels, I love, the pictures and, the diary readings and stuff, and I was like, wow, I just learned about graphic novels through my, online class. Someone said, I read Refugee by Alan Gratz. It was assigned, but I liked it. I like to read realistic fiction, and I am in the same boat as him. I really like to read realistic fiction. Who is / are your favorite author? Bailey said, I do not have any because I have not read enough on my own. Someone said Cynthia Ryland and Sharon Draper because I got to meet her on my field trip. And I actually went on that field trip with them for Sharon Draper. It was pretty cool. She talked about her books and they were able to ask some questions. And she was very, very sweet. And then she signed books at the end. My favorite author is the one who wrote the Harry Potter books, so J.K. Rowling, and my favorite author is J.K. Rowling. So two of the boys at the end said their favorite was the person who Right, it's Harry Potter. Have you ever reread a book? If so, which one and why? So the first one said, yes, I reread A Fault in Our Stars, and just because she was bored and she felt like doing it, she said. Someone said they reread the Nancy Drew series because they liked it. Diary of a Wimpy Kid 7 times, and the last person said Percy Jackson, Hunger Games, Harry Potter, and I read them when I was younger and wanted to again. So you can definitely see that Danielle's a big reader. Who is the best reader you know? What makes her or him a good reader? So this person said Alberta, her friend, because she reads as much as possible throughout classes, and she said in the back of her history class she'll sit back there and just read the whole period instead of paying attention. This person said, my ELA teacher, she's a great teacher because of the way she gets into the story and her tone of voice. The other one is my mom because she reads all the time. And the other one is the best reader I know is my grandma because she reads all the time. What is the best part of your reading ability? I think I'm good at comprehending a story. I read better in my head than I do out loud. I stumble reading out loud. So, you can see that people are totally different. Someone said, I think I'm good at reading aloud and in my head. So they're saying that they're better at both. The next one said, I think I'm good at imagining the story in my head and putting a picture to the words. I loved that this person, they all had totally different responses to that question. What do you feel you need to improve on regarding your reading? I think it is, if I read more consistently, then it would improve my reading out loud to others. I zone out when I read. Sometimes I do not comprehend what is happening, then I go back and have to read it. I think I need to read more, especially informational text. So what kind of surprised me there was, Chris said, I zone out when I read sometimes, and I don't comprehend what happens, and I need to go back. And I kind of relate to him because sometimes I'm not into the story, and I have to go back and read a whole, chapter again because I don't comprehend it at all. So, this one is, who do you think reads better, male or females? So both females said females. One male said male, and the other male said females, because they get more into the books. I thought those were kind of interesting, but I didn't really, care about it because I think mostly girls are going to say girls and boys are going to say boys at this age level. What kind of movies do you watch? How often do you watch movies? Someone said history movies. I don't watch movies often. I like to watch comedy and not that often. I like to watch comedy movies, horror, thriller, and western movies, sci-fi, and he watches movies once a week. I watch movies every 2 weeks. I like to watch historical or war movies. Sorry, I'm trying to rush through it because I'm looking at the time and I'm at 12 and a half minutes already, so. Do you watch movies that are also books? Do you read the books first or watch the movies first? The first person said, I watched Fault in Our Stars, then read the book. I like the movie better, even though I read the book twice. This person said, I watched everything first, then read the book. I like the book better. I like to see the movie first because I like to be able to put the picture to the characters in her mind. Someone said, yes, I read and watched Harry Potter. I like to read the books first because the movies leave a lot of information out, and I like to read the book first. I have read and watched Harry Potter, Wonder, Percy Jackson, Hunger Games, American Sniper, Lone Survivor, and The War House. And I was, so surprised that these people can, name all these things right away in their head. They really must get into the movies and the books. Textbooks, what they like. Kind of the gist I got from this is most people think average, or it depends on what subject you are at best. 3 people liked novels, 1 person liked short stories, 1 person liked comic, 1 liked magazine, sorry, I went back, and 1 liked newspapers. I was surprised that 1 liked newspapers, because a lot of kids do not like to read newspapers at this age. So I asked 1 more additional question, because I was kind of just curious about myself, was what was your favorite English project you ever did and had to do with what book? This person said we did a diorama to Fantastic Mr. Fox, and they created a scene in a box, and it was fun, and this was in elementary school. But they said that they don't do anything like that anymore. Another person said they did a Hunger Games activity with a tribute packet. They had to pick their own tribute from a different district and battle against their classmates. And that's kind of why I read Hunger Games in the science fiction category, because I wanted to be able to teach it in my classroom, because 3 of the students talked about Hunger Games during their interviews. And the next one, we did an activity after reading Hunger Games. We had to create our own person. We had special skills and pick what district they were from to compete in the Hunger Games and compete against our own classmates. And that was in 8th grade when they did it, so that was recent. I got to roll rocks down hills till they hit a tree to represent touching Spirit Bear. He was carrying his ancestors and rolling them down a hill. So, and I also put my sources just because I needed to source the interviews, but I didn't really have any other sources to source. Thanks for watching, and I'm really glad that I gained a lot